So, we're going to start a new map today. So I've messed about with my settings. I don't know if they're any good, but I've messed about with them anyway. I'll briefly show you what they are. They're not this. I've kept a record of all my settings, actually, because what I did was I put that in there like that. What's the new features in this update? Well, you'll just have to wait and find out, won't you? What's the point in me telling you? And then later on, he's going to come along and tell you anyway. That would take the wind out of his sails, wouldn't it? I can't do that. Mr. Drummer, thank you for 69 months. So anyway, we're going to go for a huge map, which is very big, 20 by 20 Ks. And I've gone for a map format of 1:1, so square, right? Towns, I've put on low and industries low. Now, this is interesting because this leads us into one of the new features. Another resub. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for 68 months. Now, what I wanted to do with this is bring the towns and industries low, right? So we've got more spaced out towns. I quite like the idea of having bigger connections. So we've got a really big map with not many towns in it. It means we're going to have to go on pretty long runs, which I like the idea of. That'll be fun. But what I've done is just crank the water up a little bit, just to give us a bit more. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of coastal towns. So we can do a bit of waterway stuff. And I've gone for a dry climate with canyons in it, but in a weird twist, I have gone for a temperate climate. So instead of getting like this rocky desert type thing, we're going to end up, with advanced settings, we're going to end up with a temperate climate. So we'll have that rocky canyon feel, but with greenery, which I think might be kind of fun, because that means we've got to build our transport between canyons or through entire rock bed, which could be tricky. Yeah, just spacing it out, Club Villain. We're on a huge map though, not a large one, so it's even bigger. I've gone for American town names and vehicles, temperate climate again, hard difficulty, because we'll see how we get on. But then this is where it gets interesting. So I've ramped up the cargo supply to 200% for the town growth factor. So it means the more we supplying goods to a town will have a bigger impact on its size. Now, I don't have the town growth mod, I don't think. I had to disable that because I'm not sure what works in this pre-release, you see. So I've kind of taken out... I've left in the more industry levels so they can level up more. Oh, no, I did leave natural time growth in. I'm hoping this works on the pre-release, but I'm not sure. So if it goes wrong... But what I have taken out is that complex industry one, this thing. I've knocked that out just in case it doesn't work properly. So I'm hoping this will allow towns to grow properly. I'm hoping this will allow more industry levels. But anything script-wise with a pre-release is a bit risque. So it starts behaving weirdly. We might have to start again. We'll see how we go. Wish from Mihai. Thank you for gifting a sub to Heffy. Welcome, Heffy. I've left in my parallel tracks, left in a couple of asset things like the 777, the A380, and a ship. Just trying to keep things a bit minimum. Obviously, the quieter bulldozer. This is the beta, a build of the pre-release, which will be available when they release it. Yeah. So that's what we've got, and this is where it gets different. So we've got this thing now. So traditionally, towns can only have 2 industries. Is it 2? I think it's 2. With the pre-release, with the new build, they can actually grow in demand. So as the town gets bigger, they start to demand different resources. So certain buildings will spring up which demand new types of goods, and you have to bring them in. But what you can do is you can tell it, that's the basic one of 2. So at the most, it will demand 2 types of industry. You can put it on 4, so it will grow up to 4 and then up to 6. So different sizes of town. What happens is they get to a certain size. I'm sure he can explain it later. They get to a certain size and then just suddenly snap, and it will say, "Oh, this town now demands, whatever," which makes it interesting. But you can kind of control the way industries come and go with these boxes here. Again, he can explain in more detail. But dynamic industries target medium, I've kind of bumped that up a little bit. So that means we should start to get new industries pop up every, whatever, 10, 20 years, I don't know. And then closure frequency. So if you don't use an industry, it can close down. It can disappear. It gives you like a year, I think. But it'll give you a warning if you don't use it, it's going, and it'll close down. Isn't 6 like literally everything? Possibly, yeah. Yeah. But you'd have to have a fairly big town for that to happen. So, you know, 4 is possibly a better option. I don't know. But with this, you know, in theory, with this, you get new industries coming in. Timber Plays, thank you, 26 months. Didn't they have a very hard difficulty? Yes, they did. But I'm not going to play that today because I need some money to be able to show you guys stuff when he joins us later. What does that mean? What does not using mean? What do you mean? Especially in early game, it would mean a lot of close on the other... What? In early game, it would mean a lot close on other areas of the map. I'm not sure what you're getting at, Venox. I don't know, Mr. Dragon. ATS has got a new update soon. Nice. Maybe it would be wiser to choose 4 while it's my first playthrough. I don't know. Medium. Should we put that on? I might put that on high. Yeah, should we go with that? That way a town can have up to 4 new industries. Up to 4 industries in total. And it with demand high, we should see a fairly frequent new industry popping along. Because I kind of want to see that. Targeted industry density over time. Oh, that's the density, not the growth. Right, okay, not the frequency. Interesting. So if I start it on low, we're basically saying what is the target density of the industry later in the game. I guess what you'd have, if you're going to put that on 6, you'd have to put that on high, because you're going to need a lot more industries later, wouldn't you? Whereas this one is the closure frequency. He did explain the rate to me, but I can't remember what he said exactly. I mean, when they close, if you're not using them in the beginning, you only... Ah, yeah, so I see what you're saying. Right, so we'll ask him later, but I remember him saying something like, you know, every 10 or 20 years, it'll have... An industry will have a certain percentage chance of disappearing, but it's very low. And it gives you a year to do something with it. Maybe the title should also say TF2 patch. TF2 patch. Why TF2 patch? Oh no, my OBS. What's going on? My OBS is doing freaky things. It did this yesterday, actually. All my panels have just disappeared. I can't see the chat anymore. Oh, all my events have just gone. Hang on. It did this yesterday when my stream was finished. I reckon there's a bug, you know. Let me try doing that. Dot that there. Sorry, one sec. There we go. Something weird going on with it with OBS right now. Well, you've got panels docked and then they just go completely black. Not sure what that's about. Not sure what that's about. Right, let me just adjust my settings here. Difficulty hard up to 6. Target industry. I'm going to put that on hard. High, sorry. I'm just keeping a track of my settings. I want my seed back, which was that one. Of course, that's now changed, isn't it? Okay. So that's the setting. I don't know if this is going to work or not. So we'll leave that on 6. We'll leave that on high. We'll see what happens. Genuinely don't know. Never played it. Iro Club, you're welcome, sir. Yes, it did, Pagan. I think it updated last week, and it's definitely been behaving a bit strange. They've definitely brought a bug in there somewhere. Captain Cola, thank you for half a year. 747 Pete, 43 months. We'll see how we get on. We can always, if things aren't looking great, we can always re-roll in the first hour. But, you know, we're not going to find out until later, are we? Thank you, Cubits. Iro Clubster, thank you for subbing. Welcome, sir. Thanks for distracting me while studying for your exam tomorrow. You're hardly studying if you're watching a stream, are you? Okay, let's have a look around. Let's see what we got. Let's save it first, because the start is always pretty critical. Kansas City, Coral Springs, Albuquerque. Now, ideally, we want to start with something like a nice oil industry. Charts. Don't see any new stuff here. Not many canyons. I don't know. It gets pretty canyony over here. Oh, I like that. That's lovely. Look at that. That's beautiful. It winds through there. I'm not sure how many ships are going to get through, but it looks amazing. Yeah, you got some nice hard edges going on. Didn't you select dry climate? Yeah, but I customize it for temperate. I said I wanted to dry, but customize it to temperate, and you get this then odd mix of greenery and hard edges, which I kind of wanted. That's what I was going for. I've also got these nice flat areas, look, really big flat areas, and then over here, you've almost got a ridge line, almost like the Pennines between the east and the west. Denver Colt, thank you so very much for gifting 10 subs, Denver Colt. Welcome, guys. Thank you for the squirrel gifts in chat. And if you got a sub off Denver Colt, give him a thank you. St. Petersburg down here. That's going to be one of the last ones we get to, I reckon. Just looking at that. Right, should we try and find something that demands bricks and goods? That's not... Bricks? Look at this. Construction goods. All of them. All 3 of them. That's a nightmare. And that one as well. What's going on? That's not good. And that one. Nah. I'm thinking this... I'm thinking out... Yeah. I'm thinking that one of the mods is broke. Yeah, look. This is broken. We're going to have to re-roll this. We might have to take that mod out. Is it the growth mod? I wonder. Like 5 of the towns have got all the same thing. 6 of them. That's broken. Free game. Let's try it again. Yeah, it's no good if all the industries are broken like that. Either it was really, really bad luck, or one of the mods is interfering with it. What's broken? About 6 or 7 towns had identical demand, which is not normal. So it could be that one, or it could be that one. Because these script mods are not built for pre-release, so these could be messing with it. May have to turn that one off. Let's just do it again and see if it does it again. If it does, then we'll have to turn something off until it starts working. I'd like to have those mods, but if they're going to break it, then we can't. Whilst I'm doing 4 pause, I'm just going to re-roll and see if it was just really, really strange luck. But I doubt it. It may do Donkey. I don't know. Like he did say most asset mods will work, but script mods are always a bit... Yeah, but there's no way they should all start on the same thing. Like, it's going to be very hard to Like, not one of them was taking gas, which knocks out the entire oil industry. That's not right. None of the mods will be updated with the game's features yet. Yeah, JD, man, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe he's interfering with it. Let's see. Okay, so that one's got gas now. Yeah, look, gas bread, gas bread, gas bread, gas bread. This is definitely a scripting issue. Gas bread. All right, okay, so let's try knocking out that mod because something is definitely interfering with this. No, I don't want that one, do I? Free game. Let's do that. Let's take out settings. So maybe it's one of these two. I'm reckoning. Let's try taking that one out. Natural town. Maybe that's interfering with it. Where do most of these games come from? Salad King. Well, if you go back to the PC days of the 90s, that's where they come from. A lot of the games were invented back then, before mobiles were even getting going, really. That's 90s, late 80s, early 90s was the real Tycoon era. That's when it really properly sort of burst onto the scene. Tycoon games and God games were a big thing. That's where you'll find games like Civilization making their debut, and Populous and things like that. Transport Tycoon, Railroad Tycoon, all those games kind of came out around then. They were like genre-defining times, you know. Computers have got powerful enough that they could do that kind of thing. We've still got the same thing. 1, 2, 3 of them. Oh, that's different. I'm still seeing, look, construction bricks and goods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Still something wrong here. Still something wrong. I mean, it could just be a pre-release bug. Maybe it's not a script problem at all. Who knows? Let's see. So it could be that one. It feels unlikely, but that's script mode, parallel track, auto sig. It's unlikely to be those two. They're not going to mess with the industry, are they? This one will. Launch it without any mods to be sure. Yeah. Let's do that. Let's disable all. Put that back in. Right, so we've got the same town, same size, same everything. Everything's the same, apart from we have no mods. Go. It could be Ironclad, but the problem is, I think I would expect it not to do that. I would expect it to have a good mix of industry to begin with. When I'm seeing like 70% of towns have the exact same demand, that doesn't feel right. Because it does preclude a bunch of industry. Thank you, Simon. I'm good. I think so, Force. I'm not 100% yet, mate, but I think so. Ah, okay. Construction goods. Construction goods. Construction goods. So either it's meant to work this way, or this is a pre-release bug. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's like 6 towns have it. Change the seed. You reckon the seed might? I thought the seed's just the map thing. You reckon it's the map? It's just the seed control that. Free game. Okay. That, yeah, there's one question for the devs right there. All right, let's go with that then. All right, let's keep that. See what it does with that. Same settings. Sometimes seeds are broken. Could be, yeah. If it seems okay, we'll try putting the mods back and seeing what it does. Sorry if it doesn't work. It's all your fault if it doesn't work, Qubits. We're all going to blame you for your rubbish suggestion. No, this is not game music. You need to go into advanced. Why? We just changed the seed. Pre-release. Okay. Is that where the confusion comes from? Well, I can't change it because I can't change my panel. What should I call the title so people are not confused? Pre-release patch TF2? Pre-update release? I don't know. You tell me. You're the one that's confused. Pre-release TF2 patch. Let's do that then. Right. What have we got? What have we got? Yeah, look. Fuel and bread. Fuel and bread. Fuel and bread. Fuel and bread. Nobody ever reads the title anyway. Exactly. Fuel and bread. Fuel bread. This is looking like pre-release hype. Thank you, Alex. Maybe we're just going to have to add more towns in there just to give us a better... This has got insane amounts of canyons. Look at it. What's this? This is horrid. Horrid, I tell you. Is it because maybe it's on hard? I don't think so. What if we do towns medium? If we add more towns to compensate for it, I want to see what it does. I'm going to put that back a second. I'm going to load that back in. All tanker. Bring all the mods back. Temperate. It's fine. Put that on 4. Right, so add more towns back in there. Let's try that. We've got a lot of towns. This is too many. I don't want this many towns. I don't want all this cluster. This is what I'm trying to not have. I don't like this. I did, Fenrith. We've turned all the mods off, and it still doesn't make any difference. I'll put it on 4 instead of 6, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, we could edit the town demands in Sandbox, but I wouldn't know what to set it to. I reckon it's a pre-release thing. Yeah, I reckon the RNG. Whoop! It just crashed. This is going well. All right, free game. Settings, save for. It certainly is, Armin. No, I don't think the devs woke up yet. It's Sunday. It's his day off. Oh, dear. What? I've started. I'm there. No, nobody wants to see you in your pajamas, dear. Lazy. Popping a head round the door. Are you live? Yeah? Well, I don't see you. Thank you, 15 months, Chris. Sounds... Doesn't seem to like... Cargo demands up to 4. Didn't seem to like it being on 2. Just get rid of that. I know, right, Beaker? And she's going to the cinema later. Lexi Bob, thank you for 2 months. Well, if we put demand on 2, that will be like the normal base game. I think they are, Lithandril. I think that's exactly what they're going to see in Morbius. Yeah, I wouldn't. If you've got exams coming up, JT, I wouldn't reinstall the game. That would be a mistake, I think. Exams are for losers, Dave. Lol. Can't fail an exam if you don't sit it. Okay, I think we'll have to go with this for now.
Morning, Paul and chat. Time for TF2 shenanigans.
Indeed. Indeed, Chris. I think what we should do is... Because a lot of them are fuel and bread. Fuel and bread, fuel and bread, fuel and bread. A lot of them are fuel and bread. Either that or we go into Sandbox and just change them to something else. We could just do that. Just consider it to be a pre-release bug, I think. Quick to main menu. How do we... Map editor. How do we load it into the Sandbox? Load map. There we go. Nope. Maps. Well, fuel and bread will be fine, but we can't make a mod setting. What do you mean? Random mystery spawner is great for electricity mods. I'm going to develop it. It's not out yet. Remove all roads and create your own connection. I just want to change the industry in the towns. Load game. Then you can add mods to the save game. Unless you want to load this game, but I want to load it into Sandbox mode and mess about with it. It's in the mod screen. In here. What does that mean? What does that mean? Is that a warning? Removing this mod may lead to unexpected results. Oh, okay. Towards the bottom of the mod list. Oh, Sandbox is an in-game mod. Ah, I did not know that. I did not know that. So I just started up now. Yeah, I didn't know. I literally never loaded it in Sandbox. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Mafia. Well, I don't cheat like you, Dave, you see, so I'm not used to loading Sandbox cheats. Never done it, mate. Play by the rules. Okay. So, if we want to just change one of these towns, how do we do that? Editor. Cargo. Non-food and fuel. There we go. So if we change, I don't know, construction materials or something? Oh, God. How does that work? Tools. There you go. Yeah, there's something, I don't know, there's something weird going on there. So we'll just change that to that. Obviously, these can't all be the same. Food and fuel. Goods. That's so weird. It goes from 2 to 4, like, when you change it. The residential tab is spare code, so modders can mod it easier. That one. I think you have to reset them back to 0, and then it'll let you do something. There you go. Food and fuel. Food and machines. They're all suitably different, aren't they? Well, a lot of them seem to want fuel. And that's a bug, yeah. Fuel machines. That seems like a reasonable mix, although that's the same as that, so that's not good. In fact, those two are the same, so that's a bit rubbish. Let's change these. We need what? We need campaign cargoes as a built-in mod. Let's go with... I think we need a better commat line around because we don't have a lot of commat. There's one there, one there. They both want commat. Is that a good idea? I don't know. None of these up here want combat. Well, that's what I'm thinking on Amicia. So I'm trying to. So we've only got it's hard to balance because I can't see all the supply of industry, but I'm just trying to get a reasonable mix of stuff. We don't want to have fuel everywhere, you know? There's too many machines. Okay, let's just go with that. Yeah, there's definitely a pre-release issue going on here. We'll ask him later when he joins. There's probably a bug. Main menu. So I want to get rid of the sandbox mod now, don't I? So, options. Get rid of sandbox. And then start it. It should now not be in sandbox mode. Maybe it's a feature of hard mode. We'll have to ask him. I genuinely don't know. Okay. And hopefully we can't edit the town. Correct. Right, I think we're good to go. Running a more industry mod seems like a bad idea. I'm not running more industry mod. I'm running a more levels industry mod. But it's not messing about with the industries. Right, where do we begin anyway? Need an industry triangle. I'm looking at this bit up here because it's nice and flat, but generally, like, there's some oil, gas, food. We want to be growing 2 towns initially. That's what we want to be doing. There's refinery, fuel, crude. Okay, so there's one. There's an industry right there. In fact, there's an oil industry here that we can grow New Orleans and West Covina. They're a bit far away, but you can always ship things a bit nearer. That's going to be a late game. That is a bit far out the way. Dave, have you not got something more important to do? Biggest thing you're wanting is for Urban to add the special cargoes from the campaign missions into free mode as a built-in mod. Well, you can ask him later, see what he thinks. We have a refinery here. We have refinery there. We have crude here. So there's another industry right there, which is connected on roads. The problem is if we grow this town, it's in the corner of the map surrounded by a lot of hills. So that's a real pain. Of course, Dave has nothing better to do. Dave, have you bought a t-shirt yet, mate? Have you bought one of the t-shirts yet, Dave? It is too isolated, I agree. I'm here to be a whistleblower so that when you cut out the cheating and upload to YouTube, your view... Oh, dear. Right, food. Can we do something with food? So we've got a processing plant here. We've got food. We've got a farm there. Should be plenty of grain around, but I can't see it. It's not up here. There's one there. That's it. Where's all the grain? One. This is genuinely the hardest bit about any map, is just getting going. There's a ton of farms here. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the farming is here. Trouble is, 6. I don't see the behind lovely bit of mountain, but that needs food. So there's an option here. That needs food. So we could grow those two from food. Doesn't pay the bills like oil does, but it's a good start. We're going to have to export grain. Like, this is going to be the grain production here. We have to ship it. Anybody see anything better yet? We have wood, planks, tools here. Little triangle going on. Conmat. Is there any conmat? There's conmat here. Don't see much in the way of stone anymore. There's only 4 quarries. 1, 2, there's 1. It's quite a long way for now. 3. Right, there's stone and combat there, and that requires combat, so that's not bad. No, they don't do orange shirts, Dave. Nobody wants them. Right, so we've got stone, quarry. So we've got 2 quarries. We've got a plant here. That requires combat. Is there another combat nearby? There's not, is there? It's all the way up there for combat. You could ship that stone to that combat later. Stanford is literally the only English city on the map. They're American names, bro. Gaming Turtle, thank you for 41 months. It looks like we're going to be starting with food, I think, because oil and gas is not... The problem with oil and gas is the demand for it. We can't ship it. Oh, we can ship it to Phoenix. It's a long way, though. There's a slightly longer play. Maybe what we do is we start with food, and then later on we move into oil and gas. We ship the gas to here, down to Phoenix. From there, it's a long, long way. But it's a nearer one initially. You could also bring it to a port there and drop it off at Harvard. But the crude, you need 2 crude, really. Well, there's plenty here. Yeah, we could crude, refine into gas, sell it to New Orleans. Get that going, because it needs food anyway, and we're making food here, so that's a good play. All right. I think there's an idea here. Pugrick, thank you for 17. Fun to see Phoenix as a coastal town. Right, so I think we start off with a bit of a food run. So the question is, how do we structure it? We've got West Covina and Newport News. We've got grains here. We've got a food processing plant there. So we could probably bring the grain down there, then drop the food off, and then travel back. That creates... We're paid for about 2/3 of that. Trouble is that is a 2-to-1, so you're coming back half stacked. I don't see another... How many processing plants? We've got 1 there. 1 there. So there is a potential there. 1 over here. That is the most inconvenient. Dear me. Yeah, not having good luck with the food processing. But once we get trains... we're starting in 1900, so we should have reasonable vehicles, but not great. We'll have to use that road for now. Okay. Let's make a start, shall we? Let's see, what can we get away with? It's going to have to be here. We've got 10 grand. Or 10 million. Okay, that's just about alright there. Okay, so we get truck there. We're gonna have to put another one down here, maybe on this side. That's too far. Yeah, it's come to it like that. That's a pack station. Shh. You didn't see anything, mate. You didn't see a thing. You were just dreaming. Exactly. So what? What? What are you on about? Right, now I don't really want them driving through the town, so I'd kind of like to bypass this. If possible. Let me have a look at what the top speed of the vehicles is right now. Road depot, we'll stick that out of town now. What have we got? Oh boy, Steam. I've not got it, Armin, sorry. Let's see, 20Ks, 25Ks, 7 grand a year. That can carry grain, but it can't carry food, which is no good for us, so we're going to have to go with these. So 25 kilometers is the maximum speed right now. I'd kind of like to bypass this town completely. So I'm thinking we can just go around it like that. Still a chunk of change, that is. Old school. Well, you can start in 1870, so we're not, you know. Right, so we're going to have trucks, we're going to have Newport, grain, food. Thinking about this, we're going to have to go through the town anyway just to make the drop, aren't we? Unless we have two separate lines. Maybe we have two separate lines. Of Newport grain. That's the new color picker, by the way. Right. So I can demonstrate one thing. Am I in the right place though? I probably need to move, don't I? 1 second. Maybe put me. If I sit approximately that way, I'm not covering up anything important, am I? Yeah, so you've obviously got more colors, but you've also got this custom color palette now, so you can basically... How do you do this? You did show me this. Oh, can you edit it? You can edit this. I need to get him to show me. There's an RGB picker somewhere. I don't know how he did it. He showed me, he didn't tell me how to do it. I've tried right-clicking. There's an RGB picker, and you can assign a color, any color you want into the... Oh, there you go. What was that? Shift. Shift. There you go. Shift click. And then you can basically pick any color you want from an RGB picker and hit apply. So you can, you've got a selection of anything down there by shift clicking it, which is kind of nice. Yeah, I used to run out of colors all the time. So that's a nice little quality of life feature. Click stations to add. I don't know, Mr. Drummer. We can ask him later. Right, so that's going to drop grain off. There he goes. Alright, well now we need a drop point. Interesting how all the food is down that side. They may benefit from that. That way you can drive in a loop. Been pressured into buying a t-shirt and I paid full price. I'll buy you a kebab, Dave, you know that. Cool, different platforms. You don't play this. How does grain food get from the producer consumer to the stops on the line? How does it get from the producer consumer to these stops on the line? So you're responsible for moving stuff, basically. Okay, grain's starting to collect here. So what happens is, in a nutshell, no, Joel Lab, this is my own music. You build a depot or a truck station within reach of that, and then it deposits stuff here if something moves it. So if you start to move it, by creating a line between an industry and another industry, you establish a link. So the game goes, oh, hang on, I can get stuff from here to where it's needed here via that line. So I'll put stuff here and hopefully somebody will move it via that line. That's the way the game's looking at it. And then equally, we've established a line between here and here. So this takes grain and produces food. This town demands food in order to grow. So we've got another truck moving stuff from here to here. Yeah, it's not made any yet because it hasn't had a delivery. But once it gets a delivery, it will make food. It deposits itself magically. Oh, you mean puts it from there to there? Yes. Yeah, when you're building a station of any kind, if you look, you see how it highlights in white. So anywhere within roughly that circle via the road is now in catchment. Yeah, if I was to build that here, it would never deposit anything on it because it's not in catchment. Only when it's here will it do it. What I do need to do is build one of these, color it, so we've got something dropping off the food. We'll only deposit when the route's set up and ready. Yes, as I explained, it will look for a line. It will look for a way of getting it there. Now, what's really crazy about the game is later on, when you've got lines going all over the place, it will find ways of getting goods from A to B via various logistical routes that you've established that you never anticipated it would use. Stunty Baby, thank you for 4 months. Upstairs Dave, thank you for 8 months. Is that you, Dave? I've never understood why the delivery stops don't seem to work on buildings right next to it. Not sure what you mean. Well, that's what I do, Mr. Drummer. That's exactly what I do. 6 cargo. It's going to be a long time before we move all this stuff. Now, the other thing is, the length of your platform determines how much storage space it has. However, this is a new feature which he will explain later, because I'm probably not going to explain it very well. If you look at this, There's storage space on this platform for 60 grain right now. Now, traditionally, before this build, if your platform fills up, then any grain that it produces will go to waste because it has nowhere to put it. But in the new build, you can build cargo buildings, and this goes for any kind of terminal at all, whether airport terminal, train terminal. You can basically build storage bays, and that will act as a buffer. You see? It's now added 75 storage to the station. So it's now got a buffer of 75 for any platform on top of the 60 on the platform. So that spare 26 is now accumulating in that terminal, which is a bonkers new great feature. And it applies to train stations as well and airport terminals. Remember airport terminals, you have like a hangar, and once it was full, it was full. Not anymore. Now you can have quite a lot of buffered storage. It is a game changer. It really is a game changer. It fixes airports properly. Yeah, yeah. Villameister, thank you for a year. Cargo airports can now properly buffer goods. So yeah, that's a way now of buffering. You don't need to just keep building platforms out here. Now you can put those down, which is just superb. But you can see it. You can see it storing it up. It's great. Yeah, you can build more than one. If you go to configure, if you want to add another one, you can put one over here maybe, like that. And then when we click on it, we now have 150 storage. So yeah, you don't lose cargo now. And it works on passengers as well. If you build passenger terminals, they act as they're like a 600-person storage bay. They act as a massive buffer for passengers. God, these are so slow. At these speeds, it's going to take a while to get down there, isn't it? Hopefully we'll see that later. By the time he joins, he'll have got the town to a point where we can see it properly. Tell you what, this hill really affects this town. That town's going to have to grow that way. Unless it kind of grows around it, that would be amazing. He's finally making stuff. Here we go. It takes a bit of time to get going when your vehicles are so slow. I have got some mods running, Jorolap, but, you know, remains to be seen how well that goes. How far? It's such a long way to Cavina that dropping food. Actually, what we could do, here's a cool thing. So at the moment, right, at the moment, we've got trucks taking grain from here down that road and dropping them off here and then driving back empty. What we could get them to do is drive back with food, which they could deposit here. And then we can drop the food from there to there via a different line. Yeah? So that way, these trucks are getting paid both ways, which is the best way. So all we need to do is establish another line from here to there and have trucks drop in food, and it will automatically start bringing food back. We don't need to tell it to do it. So what we'll do is when you want to drop, I'm talking to people who've never played the game before. When you want to drop stuff off, you know this demands fuel and food, but you can't see exactly where it drops it off. It is a 2-to-1 ratio, but it will be better than nothing. And it will start growing this town. It's like a free bonus, I think. But you are right. It is 2-to-1 ratio. When you click on a truck unload stop like this, it highlights, because the town is made up of individual buildings and each building has its own demand, right? So we can see now that this is where it needs food. It's no good putting a bus stop down here, truck stop down here. You have to get them in catchment of the drop point. So what I'll probably do is just create a road like that, because I like having loops if possible. Just makes it easier for the vehicles. So now if we just put like a stop there or there, yeah, that's fully in catchment. And then we just need to establish the line. So this is West Covina. So we just call it West Covina food, like that. We'll give it a different color, maybe a darker. And then we'll go from here and we'll drop at that station there, like that. And you can see they can just do a loop. You like to make a second line with the same route to bring food back, so half the trucks go back empty and half go back full. Yeah, I guess you could do that. You see, in theory, your trucks will come back with whatever they can take, so they won't always be half empty. The other thing is you want to make sure that they're dropping at a different platform. Yeah. So having done that, all we need to do is buy a vehicle and put it on that line. And then what you should see, a new industry is available. Oh, it's gone. West Covina Oil. Where was that? It just spawned a new industry. This is a new feature, guys. But I don't know where it put it. I didn't click on it quick enough. Does it give me a news feed anywhere? Is there a history of events that I can click on? I missed it now. I know it was Covina. Was it that? Was it that one? Further left from West Covina. That one? Can't be that. Was it a refinery or was it a crude? At 10 o'clock. So it would have been that one. Was it that? Did that just spawn? Well, I mean, that's the first time we've seen a new industry spawn. So that's pretty neat. So, yeah, that just appeared. And we'll get more later, and then some will start to disappear as well. But what we've told it to do, we want to start on low industry, and we want to get to high industry. So it's going to try and transition over the years and add more industry. If we click on that now, there you go. So what the game's done is it's looked at this and said, let's pop that out. It's looked at the situation and said, well, hang on a minute. This is making food. We can get food from here to here via that line, and then we can then get it from here to here via that line. So it's now said this food processing plant now has 2 consumers. Yeah, it's now realized that there's now a demand in West Covina that it can supply. It's going to move food there, and then it's going to move it to here. All we need to do is make sure there's enough trucks to move things. Import food now needs more vehicles. So I've actually got stuff happening here. So we should also see... Actually, I want to make sure we've got some storage space here. There we go. Make sure we've got enough storage to buffer anything. Yes, industries will disappear. I hope they've changed the term demand to shipped. That would be nice. We've just got a train, the 442 Atlantic, does 100 Ks. That is quick. We might have to replace this with trains at some point. It's a nice train line that comes through there, smashes through that bit, and has a train station there, about here. That would work nicely. We can get all the grain from around here. Is what a mod. Big LRS. We do need more trucks on the new line, but there's no point putting them there yet. What I do is I put one truck, one vehicle on the line. That is all you need to establish the line, right? And then you wait, because you've now got to wait for stuff to appear here and then go back and then appear here. So once we see items appearing on that platform, we know we're ready to rock and roll with more vehicles. Right now, there's way too much grain. We just can't move it quickly enough. This smacks of a train line, guys. The trouble is, if you go to trains, you can move grain via the train, but you can't move the food back again via train because it's a different car on the back. Do you always carry all trucks or specific trucks and more capacity? Depends what I'm trying to achieve. If I was to change that to specific trucks, they would only bring grain down and wouldn't be able to take the food back. If I put a train line in there, we won't be able to bring the food back unless we have a couple of cars tacked on the end. Thing is, what I need to do, I need to have a look at what's available. So cargo wagon, a gondola, because that can carry grain. Capacity of 12. Our trucks are moving 6, but they're only moving it at 25 Ks. This can go 80 Ks with 12. Norseman, thank you for 21 months. We are doing fine. Nicholas, thank you for 5 years, sir. I found you on Twitch. You was playing TF1 back then. I remember that. Yeah. Thank you, Luke, for 63 months. And Ethan, thank you for 25. Yeah, so if we wanted to carry food back, we needed a box car. So we could replace it with a train, but is it worth it yet? That's the question. Vehicle stats. Let's see what's going on. They've just started up, so they're not earning money yet. Yes, it will, Onamichi. We've already burned through 3 million and we're not making a profit. So it's starting to get food, which is helping to grow the city a little bit. They're not a fan of emissions, though. They're not loving all the emissions. Is there less cost if a truck train is waiting in a station instead of running? Every vehicle, every building has continuous maintenance fees to pay. So if you build something, you're going to have to keep upkeep on it. In other words, it rewards you for building the least to do the most. That makes sense. Okay, we're starting to see some goods here now. Not a lot, but we're starting to see some goods. There's a long old run. Okay, so when it gets here, I want it to tell it to wait until full. 3 minutes. I don't want it doing that journey without any goods. Yeah, indeed, Ketty. It's a big change. That line's earning good profit now. It should go up a bit more because they're bringing some food back. So he's got 3 food. So in theory, if a truck takes 6 grain, it can come back with 3 food. In theory. Because of the ratios 2 to 1. Can a train have both types of car? Yes. You can have a mixed consist vehicle. The problem with doing it is you're almost always not running at capacity, if you see what I mean. Because some of your cars are empty all the time. Not yet Coastal, I don't think. Is the game a bit like Skylines without the buildings? No, Skylines is about... You often see this game compared with Skylines. Oh, hang on. A new industry's available. That just spawned. Right next to a refinery. Look at that. Nice. Skylines is about building cities. This is about building profitable logistical routes. Yeah. In Skylines, you can focus on the beauty of designing a city. Whereas you don't do that in this. You basically look at what industries are around, what the towns demand, and then satisfy it with profitable logistical, choosing the right vehicles on the way, that kind of thing, making the right decisions. I think it's just spawn the same type sort so you can easily make routes now. Maybe. RNG. Krulex, when the dev joins us later, he will talk through all the features coming through. I've only showed you a couple at the moment. I don't want to spoil it for later. Yeah, we'll do commuter lines later. Yeah, absolutely. You can only do commuter runs once you've got the demand for it. You've got to grow the cities a bit and then look at what people are doing. So what you'll start to see is like this here. This guy's making a private journey. Or girl, Danielle. She's making a private journey. We've got to then, if you start to see people driving between towns, you start thinking to yourself, hang on, we can do that with public transport. That's the one I was looking for. Destinations layer. So right now you can see there's like very infrequent private transport. The blue is private transport. We don't have any public transport for people yet. But you can see them making journeys, right? Now, at some point, these towns will grow and they'll start to move between the different towns. That's when you jump in. Oh, they can get through, though. I did wonder. Now, this town's growing, look. Because of this. It's growing. We're not bringing enough grain down here quickly enough. We need a bigger truck, but I don't know when the next one appears. I haven't messed with the waterway points. There is a new feature to do with waterways, which we'll show later. This is what you don't want. We're not supplying it with enough stuff. We can't keep up with it. So you think a bus or whatever is available at the moment between cities would not be profitable? It would not be profitable. No. Not given Not given that. There's just not enough journeys happening yet. Also, notice this town is going around. I did wonder what it would do. It's building around this. I'm going to leave that. We could flatten it, but I kind of like it. But you can see they're just going to swarm it. Interesting, the conmat demand. I thought we'd be seeing more of this food growing. Is there a conmat around? There is a conmat.
There is always a way around.
Stone. There is. There is stone, conmat, delivery. There's only the one town that's a bit far away for a combat run, but we could establish a new industry here. You assume wrong, Kalaran. Thank you, Valencia. Do we go train? Do we not go train? I forgot we had a big fat loan. $100,000 a year in loan interest. Ouch. We are being charged 3-4 times the money that we're making in interest alone. Not good. Not good. Yeah, I think we'll have to switch to a train. We just can't keep up with it. Trouble is, punching a tunnel through there is going to cost a lot of money. Otherwise, our money's just going to keep going down, I think. I mean, the line's profitable, twice as much as cost, but we just can't scale it. We need faster vehicles.